Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap. I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at BDon300. Today, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Quinten and Joey. We'll be discussing a multitude of different things, but let me check in with my co-host before we get to the most important news of the day. Joey, how are you? It's been a while since we've talked.
Good, man. Enjoying a nice Yingling flight over here. Not doing good because Roquan Smith still isn't extended. But I figured I'd show off my hamburger helper meat tonight if you're watching the live stream. Yeah, overall doing good because of the beer, bad because of Roquan, good because the Cubs won. That's about it, man. How are you guys doing?
I think it's very fitting that you wore Michael Schofield from Prison Break's outfit the day that we signed Michael Schofield from the Chargers. Quentin, how are you, my guy?
Doing good, man. Just excited the camp's finally here. It's been a long wait, and a little bummed that Roquan isn't going to be there, but understand why, and just ready for the football conversation to get rolling.
Yeah, I mean, let's get to it right out the gates. I mean, arguably the best player on our team. There's no even arguably. I just added an extra word for no fucking reason because I'm an idiot. He is the best football player on our team. He's the top 3 linebacker in the entire NFL. And, you know, he may not be the leader that you would expect from that position. And maybe that's why they don't want to pay him that much money because he's not fucking Brian Urlacher or Lance Briggs about it. But he's still a damn good football player. And he makes all the plays. He can cover in the pass. He can come up and smack you in the mouth on the run. He can blitz the quarterback and get after the quarterback when we need him to. And it makes zero sense to me why this deal wasn't done months ago so we could have completely avoided this because he is the number 1 building block on that defense. He is the best player on the whole team. So it's like, why even hesitate? Especially when right now they're trying to prove to us and tell us and say, we're kind of just retooling. It's not really a rebuild. We're retooling. Kind of what they did with Mitch, except for the fact that the team was significantly better when Mitch came around and we had Khalil Mack and we had Akeem Hicks and Allen Robinson and all these players that were playing to the level that they should have played at. This year, we don't have the Jimmies and Joes. It's to be determined if we get the X's and O's with Eberflus. We don't even know what we're getting with him. So why the fuck would you not pay the best player on your team to set the precedent that if you do well on this team, you will get rewarded and you will get a fresh contract? It makes zero sense to me from any which way you want to look at it. Joey, you can take it from here.
I mean, I'm with you. I really don't know what else to say other than that. I mean, you have Roquan Smith there who I kind of compared it in my head earlier to like the Cubs situation of like who you're going to extend, right? Like this team is in rebuild mode. We know that from the Bears' perspective. The young guys that they're trying to get in the building here are a totally new coaching staff. But these aren't players who are like 29 to 32 years old and you're trying to figure out which player to extend. This guy is 25 years old. Like you said, he's the leader of the defense. He can make any play. In coverage, he can come up and hit. He can sack the quarterback if they wanted to use him more like that, which maybe they even would this year if they had some special packages to use him more in the blitz. This guy should be extended. He is the one player at this point in time on the roster that you can say with 100% certainty is worthy of an extension. So give him the money. You were cheap in free agency for the most part. Ryan Poles was. I know we're going to talk about a signing that just happened today, but he was cheap in free agency. Didn't make any real major moves. I mean, one could only assume that would mean that you're going to pay your star linebacker, who, like you said, is top 3 in the game at the position. And I don't want to hear shit about it because there is no question when you look at the numbers, too. I think I showed you this, Bidon, in maybe a group chat like in the middle of last year or towards the end of last season. The numbers that he was putting up, a lot of people were talking about Quan Alexander and how Roquan Smith is no match for Quan Alexander. The numbers were very, very close between those two, and they were.
I'm pretty sure Quan Alexander is on like the fucking Eagles now or something stupid. Like I don't even think. Yeah. I think he is not the same human being he was 2 years ago, which is a testament to Roquan.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, and like just some of the other key names at linebacker too, right? Like he had better numbers than a lot of those linebackers. And maybe you can call them, like, you know what they used to say about Zach LaVine with the Bulls? They used to call them like empty calorie stats. I don't think they're empty calorie stats because legitimately the defense wasn't the huge issue most of the time. Like he was standing on his head to make this defense better. So, yeah, I really don't understand this. I think you need to figure this shit out, get Roquan the money that he's asking for, or, you know, come to some sort of agreement here, meet halfway, whatever you got to do, and get your best player locked up because the man's 25 years old and he's going to be consistently good for the foreseeable future from all things that we've seen.
Quinten, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, so really when you're looking at it, you're like his contract situation, you're looking at Darius Leonard, you're looking at Fred Warner. Darius Leonard at 27 years old, I believe it was when he signed it, or 26 years old when he signed it. So a year older than Roquan. He got $98 million over 5 years with like I think $30 million in signing bonus. That's really probably the benchmark you're looking at here. Like, and honestly, Fred Warner's right next to him, $95 million, $27 million signing bonus. But like, I don't know why you wouldn't be looking to take advantage of the situation that you've kind of put yourself in here. You have 15 to 20 million in cap space right now for this year. Why wouldn't you be trying to prorate this contract to that? Get, you know, a roster bonus, a workout bonus, something for this season of $10 million to lower your cap hit down the road, or your $100 million in cap space that you have next year. It sounds great. It sounds awesome. You go out and spend $80 million in free agency, you're going to be disappointed in a year or two because there aren't $80 million worth of good free agents available in any given season. Like, it's the truth. Guys don't get to free agency if they're that good very often. You might have a handful in any given year. So why are you sitting on this cap space right now? Like, if you want to make the argument of linebackers a devalued position, you know, it's not, you can get by with just guys there. I can buy your argument on that, but why is it an issue now? If you feel that way, you should have done something about it months ago. You know, I just don't understand why we're sitting here, like, getting in this, why Ryan Poles is putting himself in this situation right here, right now. Like, this guy was just posing in your new uniforms yesterday for Instagram photos. Why are you making him the face of the franchise if the contract's not even close? I just much even doesn't make sense to me.
That's the problem. That's the fucking problem, though. It's like you point that out, and for those of you that haven't seen the picture, I mean, Roquan looks like someone took his lunch money. Roquan looks like he doesn't have a new contract. Roquan looks like somebody fucked his girl. Okay, like that's like straight up. The Bears.
Roquan looks like these dudes want me to put on this orange helmet. Yeah, and won't even pay me.
They want me to. like, they want me to wear this traffic cone prison jumpsuit jersey. It looks janky as hell. Like, at least the old oranges looked a lot better than that, and it didn't have like the prison cone helmet to match. As we see in the chat, I fully expect the extension to get done this week. I wish I shared that same level of optimism. If the Bears wanted to do that, you know, I think you make one phone call, 2 phone calls actually. Okay, you call the bank, you get the Brinks truck ready, and then you call a Bella Danger, and you just have her in the back of that Brinks truck, and you back it into Roquan's garage. So when Roquan goes to get into his Ferrari or his Rolls Royce,
I thought you were going somewhere else. Back it in.
Well, I'm not going to be that much of a weirdo, but just have a Bella Danger pop out the back of the truck with like those little money guns that you see in like the music videos. Just be like, congratulations, you have been extended for blank check, whatever amount he wants, because he deserves it. There's no argument about it. So, what were you saying, Joey?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, even if the argument is, you know, linebackers are a devalued position now, which I can kind of understand. I feel like in this system, which is going to be similar to, you know, what they had previously when Urlacher was here, right? The Tampa 2, like, I know it's modified, but I feel like that position is very, very important in this type of defense. So, I mean, I would argue that if you don't have Roquan this year, I mean, there is no argument. If you don't have Roquan this year, the defense is absolutely trash. And that also goes down to, because you don't really have much of a backup plan because you didn't make the move expecting Roquan was not going to play this year or whatever. But like him, you need to get this done. Because like I just feel like even if you stabilize the rest of the positions on that defense, and the other positions do look pretty solid, we look like the secondary is getting better, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of young guys, though, even in the secondary. I feel like Roquan is going to be huge this season, especially while these guys are going to be learning just the league as a whole and the speed of the game. You're going to want that guy to be dominant at the linebacker position. So this season, like you said, Quinten, like you have the resources to take advantage of, like kind of prorate the contract and maybe spend a little bit more on him this season and next year. And then kind of down the road, you can kind of spend a little bit less on him and then acquire talent through free agency, spend a little bit more
creative
that way. So
there's so much you can do with numbers to try to set them up in your advantage here and try to make this contract really maximize what you can do down the road while still having a star player. And I mean, it does open the door a little bit for him to say, I want a new contract earlier if you do it too much. But like, there's room there to try to find that middle ground with it where you're setting yourself up best to build the team in the future. And I mean, I doubt we're going to see him miss any games or any time over this. Like it's camp, but it's a new coaching staff. It's a new, hell, half the team is new. Over half the team are new guys. Like them getting their chemistry out there matters. And Roquan's not the only guy we're talking about here. We got Jaquan Brisker not coming either.
Yeah.
Over how big of a thing could it be that the Bears aren't giving him in the contract talks? Like, it's a second round pick contract. Are we talking about $100,000 guaranteed somewhere or something? Like,
it does say in the chat. It does say in the chat that he signed a 4-year deal for Brisker, but I don't have that. That's just like someone in the chat commenting that.
Oh, did he sign today?
I'm not 100% sure on that. But in the chat, someone does say that I Am Scopes says Brisker just signed his 4-year deal. So
okay, well, thank God.
So fuck Adam Schefter when you got I Am Scopes in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's go.
You need to get him his blue check mark tonight. But but yeah, and then too, you talk about Robert Quinn, who
that's breaking news, boys.
Oh, is that breaking news?
Yeah,
that's breaking
news. Heard it here first.
Don't look in the chat. I Am Scopes. You are credited with that. We are not giving that man the scoop because he is not the guy who got the scoop. He got it recycled to him.
You think Ryan Poles started feeling the Roquan pressure and was like, okay, I gotta make something good happen?
Yeah, but you know what though? Like if I'm Roquan though, I'm like, dude, I'm like sitting on my couch in my $1 million like loft in the middle of the city. Like, what the fuck? Like, this guy hasn't even played it down yet. Like, how does that work out? How do you figure that? And if there's one thing I'll say, and all of our listeners that root for other Chicago sports teams can attest to this, is being in one of the most expensive cities in the world. Cost of living, go to any of our games or any of our sporting teams. There's a lot of high-paying jobs. There's a lot of fucking money in the city. Like, there is endless money in the city of Chicago. But time and time again, when it comes to our sports teams, who are all owned by various different people, they all just hold the bag and rub 2 pennies together and put out a shit product. And it's honestly like maddening to me. Like, obviously I'm not a multi-billionaire that owns a sports franchise, but you would think a simple concept: keep the best players on the field, put the best coach in position to put those players in a better position when they're on the field. And usually if you win games, people will show up. If you're winning games and people aren't showing up, then you got to have some skeletons in the closet. You got to have a cheating scandal or some bullshit like the Astros, and people still show up to see them. So
Talking
like,
Dan Snyder at that point.
yeah, no, literally Dan Snyder. But I was about to say the football team, and then I almost said the previous name, but the Commanders, the Washington Commies, are run by far like one of the worst people to own a sports team. But they're terrible too. Like they're already not good. So like if you don't go to those games, we totally understand that. But
You want to talk about like teams that are not good and whatever ownership not being good. The team that they're going to play on that Thursday night football game is the Commanders when they play those ugly orange uniforms.
That's the game they're bringing them out for.
Yep,
Dude,
from what it sounds like.
What the fuck? What are the Commanders wearing?
Probably like all red or some shit. Who knows? I don't know.
So
I don't know even what I can't even think of what their uniforms normally are.
Various times throughout our NFL history, we've had like the ketchup mustard game with the Rams, like mustard yellow, like color rushes, and then Thursday Night Football History Hall of Fame is the Jaguars Texans game, or no, I think it's like, is it the Jaguars Texans that are always on Thursday night? It's just like, why do we continue to do this? Like, I saw a quote today from Mark Murphy. I think you saw it as well this morning, Lucas, about the Packers not having like noon games on Sundays. Give me every fucking noon game on Sunday this year. I don't want this team in prime time. I mean, it's a favorable matchup. I think they'll win that game. I'm not going to be too negative about it 3 months in advance, but like Thursday night football, prison cone jerseys, like they look like the people that wave you when it's like a 1-lane road. Joey, I know because you live in the country too. I don't know how country you live out there, but 1-lane road. They got
I'm familiar.
People in the little orange vests waving you down, and it's like, I'm frustrated about it, man. Like, what I would have rather they went with, if you guys can see the background that Quinten has, if they went with like an all navy blue, like that would have been sick. An all navy
dark
blue
or all white.
Yeah,
I'd be all for.
The all
they
orange
never
is
do
too
either
much.
one. They did the all navy.
I would run that shit.
2016, Leonard Floyd's rookie year when he had the Leonard Floyd game against Aaron Rodgers. That was all like midnight blue, and it looks so clean.
And it's so clean. Yeah, it's literally like, and I think too, and this might just be biased because I grew up watching the all black jersey Ravens, but like an all dark color that's like not like a loud like red, yellow, blue. Like you need it to be like a black, a purple, navy blue, not like cubby blue, I will say. And I feel like that has an intimidation factor. I don't know. I feel like we would look a lot meaner in some dark navy blue jerseys as opposed to just like 11 traffic cones and whatever. Because listen, Eberflus is coming out in some bullshit that day too. You already know. He's not coming out in the crucial catch hoodie or whatever it is that he normally wears. He's got to be color rushed out too. So we'll see what happens. I'm not a fan of it. We'll go around the room on a scale of 1 to 10 and give it a rating. Joey, I'll start with you, Joey. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are we rating the Prison Break jerseys?
I mean, they're ugly. I can't say I'm like I kind of told you guys before this. I just don't give a shit. Like it's one game. Okay, they look like trash for the one game. I think.
I mean, I forgot I was talking to a man that is sitting in a wife beater and a hat. So
yeah,
that's on me. So.
My style choice is not like the greatest.
It's laundry day in the Ricotta house. We'll lobby one because
we'll go with that.
Day. Yeah, it's laundry day.
We'll go with that. I literally look like shit 24/7. So do I care what the Bears look like? No,
you can't throw makeup on it, bro.
I just want them to win. Yeah, there's no covering up these zits.
All right, so what's your number? You give me like that sounds like a 5 at least.
I mean, it sounds like it's a 5. It's absolutely a 5. Give me the middle of the road. I'll go like 4.5 because I know it's not good. It's not good.
If they win, it's a 6, but right now it's a 5. Quinten, where you?
They win, it's a 10. That's all I care about.
Where you at on the Prison Cone Commando jerseys?
I'm fine with the jerseys. The helmet is what gets me. The orange helmet with the orange jersey is just it's too much for me. And it's too like it almost feels like a college uniform, like the dark
like when Florida goes all orange. Yeah.
Like, and honestly, if they got more creative with the helmet, I could like it. Like
they
if they did like
they put the actual bear. Turn your head around.
If they did
something like that, yeah.
I
That'd be
mean,
sick.
That's pretty sick.
I think that would look mean. But
Yeah.
like just
Yeah,
the C on like get a little more creative with it, and I can jump on board. But the way that it is, like it's just the same helmet with a different color on it. It's the same orange as the jersey, and like I don't think it looks good. Even the white helmets with the orange jersey would have looked better, I think. But like something different.
I think that's a really good point that you brought that up, Quinten, because if you look at the history of the Bears helmet, it's predominantly just been the fucking C. It's always been the C, and it's like.
And don't get me wrong, I love our normal uniforms. But like, if you're changing it, change it.
Change the helmet too, because I think with the Bears logo, like just like. Even if it's not that, like the Bears logo that would be printed on hats with like the roaring bear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Why not mess around with that or like any of the other variations of
we
the
have
Chicago
so
Bear.
Many old school logos that are just so sick.
Yeah,
never use them. And we never use them, because they just time and time again, whether paying your players, getting a new stadium, getting cool alternate jerseys, running a concession stand the right fucking way, having working ATMs in your stadium.
Like, it's all McCaskey's at the concessions. Everything's going smoothly there,
dude.
It's all nieces and nephews running the concessions.
All right, so you know how.
Listen. Wait a second.
Go ahead.
Wait a second. We know that McCaskey likes the old school look. George does, because look at the way he pulled up to the airport, man. The way he was strutting out there, that was like some old school looking get up. Why not just put that on the field?
He has to have, how like I'll use PJ Tucker as a reference, like the biggest Jordan guy, like shoe guy, I gotta say he's probably got like cases on cases of the Nike Air Monarch 4 and like New Balance. It's just like it's your dad or it's your grandpa's shoes just rolling out in like dad jeans and like a $10 like polo from Walmart. Like just the most like you would never guess that guy is worth as much money as he is. But if you remember about a month ago or 2 months ago, my buddy sent me a picture of him umping like a Little League baseball game. And I forgot that he like lives in the same general area as I do. And I somehow ended up on a road that I haven't driven on in 4 years that I've like lived out here. And I think I found his house. I don't know if it's actually his house, but it's the biggest house that I think I've ever seen. And it's gated off and it's like by no other houses. And I'm like, if I was George McCaskey, that would have to be my fucking house because it's like a castle. So
you think he's got a kid's baseball field back there?
I'll throw a newspaper over the fence and just say pay Roquan, and if he gets paid like the day after, we'll know whose house it was. But other than that, do we have any final thoughts here on the jerseys or the helmets? Because I think, like you said, Q, the helmets aren't as bad, but with the matching orange top, it's too much. It's way too much, and yeah, just find a way to win that game, and we'll stop complaining about it. But until then, we will. So, a couple other things. If I'm not mistaken, I think you guys told me earlier too. Robert Quinn, is he not reporting tomorrow either?
It's up in the air, but
yeah. So we'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow.
So it's definitely a possibility.
It is what it is. I mean, you have to figure there's going to be roster turnover with a new coach and with players that want to win championships and play meaningful football games and play into January and February. And Robert Quinn totally deserves that at this point in his career. It sucks, but it's a part of the game. And if you're a Cubs fan, you'll probably feel that pain here in about a week or so when the Cubs do the tweet again. A couple times probably, hopefully not. But yeah, it's like with Robert Quinn, you got one really good year, a career year, and you got one not so good year. You're not going to get the money that you paid for him on that contract. So I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to have him gone before the trade deadline, which if I'm not mistaken, I think it's week 8 now. Is it week 8 now, Q?
That sounds right.
It used to be week 6. It used to be week 6, but it makes sense to push it back with the extra week in the season. So 18 weeks, push it back to week 8. Makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, it's been like the trade deadline was such a non-factor in the NFL for so long.
Yeah, nothing really
never
happens.
really something I paid that much attention to. It's just the last few years it started to become a bit more important.
Yeah, and I feel like another thing too, like the NFL, when it comes to a trade, it's never really the superstars. It's usually like a guy that's a middle of the pack player, offense, defense. Never a special teams trade. I don't think. I'd have to check the trade archives for like a. Yeah,
we
lost
saw
our
that
partner.
change some last year with Von Miller, resulting in a Super Bowl. So
well, yeah, and then too, it wasn't a trade. It was like a hostile takeover with Odell. But yeah, that should have been a trade. But it was to the point where Odell was like, "I'm not doing you guys any favors, so just cut me." But that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid that with Robert Quinn. You want to get him. He did well by us last year. We didn't put the right pieces around to be a playoff team, and at some point too, as an organization, you have to hold up to your end of the contract too. You can't just go willy-nilly signing players and not expecting some sort of result from it, right? When you spend money on these players like Quentin talked about, it's hard to find the right players in free agency that are a fit for your team. It took Robert Quinn a little bit of time. He got in right away.
And I'm starting to question where the Bears' new regime is at with contract negotiations and with agent relationships and with they struck out in free agency. They looked pretty bad coming out of the Larry Ogunjobi thing of being like, oh, we signed this guy. Oh, wait, no, we're not. And then leaving the guy out to find something new. I mean, that wasn't ideal for him either. And then we have a second round pick holdout until tonight. We have a linebacker holding out. It's making me kind of question who's negotiating these contracts. What are the terms that we're throwing out to free agents that we're striking out this badly?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good look right now for obviously the front office, because anytime you take over as a new GM, you want things to go as smoothly as possible in your first year, especially from a negotiation standpoint or just how it looks on the surface. Things might not be as bad as what they appear to us just looking at it, but at the same time, because there could be some other reasons why Roquan is holding out. Maybe he just doesn't give a shit right now. And he's like, you know what? I'm using this as an opportunity because I'm not happy with my contract. Or, you know what I mean? He's to the point where if somebody's going to do it because he's so damn good, it's probably him. But I'm not speculating as that's the, another reason behind it. Obviously it's a contract from what it sounds like, but you just don't want these things to look as bad as they do right now when you're taking over as a new GM, because your team can suck in year one because of what you were left with and the additions, all the turnover that you had to make here. But at least make it look like you're progressing in the right direction and don't make it look ugly. And so far, some of the things that we've seen, with whether it be the Soup Campbell thing, whether it be all the arrests, whether it be this contract stuff with Roquan, Robert Quinn, Jaquan Brisker, who now just got done as we were on here. Got a deal done. Whatever the case is, you want to look clean, and so far it just hasn't looked that way. So a lot of people, he's catching a lot of flack from a lot of fans, and I can't really blame him. It just makes too much sense right now to kind of give him some shit.
The only thing that this new regime has done correctly is the draft so far, and that's it.
There's even questions on that.
Yeah, because we're not sure yet, right? We have no idea whether they're going to pan out or not. It looks like a solid draft, but we don't know. And then Velus Jones Jr., that was a questionable pick right there. He looks like he has a lot of high upside. But yeah, he's in a walker, but he still somehow runs super fast. But yeah, there are question marks here, even with the draft. So, did the Bears did they do the right thing here and bring in the right guy in Ryan Poles? There's a lot we don't have answers for right now.
He wasn't the right guy when they brought him in to play for the fucking team.
Like, they have all this money to spend next offseason, and that's, sounds exciting, and like it's going to be easy to bring guys here. He's laying the groundwork with agents now, this offseason, of what to expect from him. And it has not gone well. And that makes me worry about what next year's free agent class is going to look like when whoever they're talking to, whether it be Poles or Joey Lane or someone else up there, like, they're difficult to work with, and they don't feel like they can trust them and their word on what they say they're going to give a guy.
Well, and another part of that, Quinten, too, is a lot of these players have the same agent.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's tough.
It's a big relationship side of it. And I worry that there's no relationships being built here. And you could end up like a 2016, 2017 Ryan Pace free agency class where they're just striking out despite like throwing money at these guys.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. I really, I hope that they, like, if we see Justin Fields take off at a kind of the level that we think he can, like, let's not say, I'm not going to go over the top here and be like, oh, he's in contention for Rookie of the Year, but like, let's say it is a season where they really boost him up and he plays to his strengths. They play to his strengths, and he really takes off this year, or takes the next step. I think it's going to be a lot easier for free agents to want to sign here with the Bears, no matter what the relationships. They might look like they're a little bit tarnished between, agents and players. If the offense looks like it takes a step where Fields does, at least you have that one answer that really is key to win football games. If it's important that the player wins games, or if they're just looking at the money aspect of things, you might have to overpay if you have a shittier quarterback. But when you have a good quarterback, kind of answers itself a little bit in a lot of ways. Like, I think players they'll take a little bit of a pay cut, or they'll just sign with your team, even if, they might not necessarily like the way that the GM handles things, or that he's handled past players or agents in the past, because they feel so strongly about the direction that the team is heading because of the talent on the team. So I think if we could get a lot of answers in that regard too, if Fields has a good year. I know we say that almost every show though, right? Like, if Fields has a good year, blah, 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 blah.
Everything rests on, dude. Everything rests on Fields.
Yeah.
I hate to say that though, because I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid.
Position they've put him in.
Yeah,
dude, they've put him in this year.
When he was an 8-year-old kid and he was playing flag football, and he decided he wanted to play quarterback, this is all on him. You can't blame anybody else. Probably could have played a most.
Could have been a kicker, dude.
He could have played. Dude, Justin Fields could probably
was
play.
Was he the kid in that Cam Newton commercial?
Oh my god, yeah, just wound in his arm. But like, you look at a guy like Justin Fields, he probably could have played any position he wanted. That's a skill position.
He's athletic enough.
Obviously,
Could have played shortstop.
Yeah, could have played shortstop. He's a good baseball player. This guy probably beat you in ping pong. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. He's an ultimate competitor. He's an athlete. He's a freak athlete. And
I will fuck all of you up at ping pong, by the way.
Not Justin Fields.
Yeah, not Justin Fields though. But I think with Fields though, it's do or die. He realizes that, and it's maybe not as serious as I'm saying with do or die. But he's not happy with the season he had last year. That's not how he's used to playing. If you watch his career going back to high school, when you're that guy in high school, you usually don't make it to a place like Ohio State if your team's going 4-8. He won at Ohio State. He won in high school. That's
or even Georgia, right? You don't make it to Georgia.
Yeah, you don't make it to Georgia. You don't make it to Ohio State. He made it to Georgia, I think, on a two-way scholarship, if I'm not mistaken, to play both baseball and football. So
I think you're right.
I think so.
I just think the competitor inside Justin Fields, the way we've seen, how he looks in the offseason, he looked like he's gained like 15 pounds of muscle. He looks solid. I think that can help with injuries. And, there's a little bit more to break down on Justin as opposed to last year where he's a little bit lighter. And I think the way they use him this year is important, almost to how you would look at like a sophomore season when you're in college. It's a very important time for Justin Fields for the rest of his career, and it's on him and the coaching to put him in the best position to make the best with what he's got. And the weapons aren't the best, but they're not the worst. Like, we could definitely find an 1,000-yard receiver in Darnell Mooney and a couple guys that get over 500, if like maybe not 2 or 3, you know?
What was our lock from that betting, the little over-under that we did? Was it Mooney? Was Mooney our lock?
Yeah, I think they said Mooney at like 985 or something. Like it was under
Mooney
1,000.
and Fields rushing numbers were the 2 locks.
Rushing, yeah, Fields is rushing. That's right. Yeah, he's 100% going over there. Not to stray too far away from what we were talking about, but yeah, I mean the weapons aren't the worst, right? Like it's bad beyond Darnell Mooney.
Not far from the worst, but it's not the worst.
It's not the worst. But it is bad. Like let's call a spade here. We don't want to like. I hate to be not a homer because I'm so passionate about it, but at the same time, like we can't be like overly homers about this. Like this, it is a bad situation that they've put this kid in. And that falls back on Ryan Poles to a certain extent. Like maybe it won't wind up as bad as like the national media thinks, and I don't think it will be that bad. But you can't put this kid in that position, and that kind of goes into like what we want to talk about today about the guard signing, and I'll kind of let you guys talk about that a little bit. But it's not looking great. Like let's not put this kid in that position. I hate that.
So, yeah, we're I would say probably about the halfway point through the show, and we do have good news. Well, bad news and good news at the same time, because we can never have just solely good news as Bears fans. But recently signed offensive lineman guard Dakota Dozier, however you say it, he's done for the season. So he got hurt, will not be back. Wish him nothing but the best. It sucks because, we really thought he would have been able to step in and been an integral part of the offense. He looked like he was going to be a starter right out the gates. And, I mean, I know that's not saying a lot because our offensive line was one of the worst in the NFL last year, but it was a start, and you never want to see one of your new signees go right down the drain for the year. And then, two, you don't know how he's going to be able to recover from that. But on the reverse end of that, the good news is they signed Michael Schofield from the Chargers, who I'll let Quinten take it away on this, but because I saw the thread that you put out earlier, and I saw quite a few tweets just talking about the level of quality play that he put out there last season. And he could end up being a diamond in the rough. So, again, it sucks for Dozier, but it could be a good thing getting Schofield, a veteran, on this young offensive line.
Yeah, it sucks for Dozier, and like you never want to see a guy go down, but Schofield is a significant upgrade. Like this is the type of guy that we've been pounding the table to bring in for a while now. He started 5 seasons in the NFL between right tackle and right guard. Last year he started for the Chargers at right guard. Was one of the better pass protecting guards in the NFL, according to PFF's grades. And he's put up 4 separate years of being an above average pass blocking guard in the NFL. Like the consistency's there with him. Whenever he has played more than 500 snaps, his pass blocking grade has been above 70, which 70 is typically above average. 65 is somewhere around average. The bigger question there is with his run blocking. He has not put up even an average run blocking year since 2016, which was his second year in the NFL. He was with the Broncos for both those years in a Gary Kubiak offense. If that sounds familiar, Shanahan tree, Kubiak go very hand in hand. They run the wide zone. So I'm hopeful. I don't have anything to back this up besides just looking at the numbers and the years and kind of puzzling it together. But I'm hopeful that he's a good wide zone run blocking fit, and that after he left Denver, he went to the Chargers, who's playing in Ken Wisenhunt offense, which is much more kind of multiple in the run scheme between gap runs and zone runs. Then he spent a year in Carolina before going back to the Chargers last year. Kept putting up good pass blocking numbers, but his run blocking numbers were down in the 50s that whole time since leaving the Kubiak offense. I don't know if he's the athlete that he was in Denver. I hope he is. But it seems like he's a little undersized, right at 300 pounds here. But he is 6'6". I think that length, and in the combine before coming out, he graded very well in speed too. Not so much in agility, but very well in speed, which should fit the athletic mold that you're looking for in a wide zone offense. That he's got the length, he's got the speed to get out on the edge and get his claws into a linebacker and open up a door. And I'm a big fan of the signing. I'm very, very comforted that they finally made a move here. So they have Borum, Jenkins, and Jones competing for 2 spots instead of 3 spots, because I was very nervous about that right guard spot and how that was going to play out. I still think they have a lot of questions at the tackle position, but at least, you got 3 guys trying to fill those 2 spots.
Yeah, I mean, it beats Sam Mustipher playing right guard. I mean, I know. I root for
somebody's got to stick up for Sam, man. Okay.
The Sam man is better in a reserve role, if we're just being honest. I don't know that Schofield's going to be terrific, but I do like what Quinten says about his pass blocking. I love hearing that. I enjoyed the thread as well. I just got a chance to look at it right now as he was speaking too, so I was hearing the words and reading what he put out there. But yeah, I mean, out of Michigan, this kid, he was known for being a better run blocker too, and maybe they can tap into that a little bit. I mean, he's been above average, obviously, and he's definitely going to be
length and speed. Getting him out on the move and the edge, I think, is something that can really play to his strengths, and maybe that's what they did with him at Michigan too. I'm not sure. I think he played tackle at Michigan actually, but he's a tall guard at 6'6".
Oh, absolutely.
That's a big dude for guard. He's a little lighter, so a little thinner, but
that's why it's nice to have you want him to come in and be the starting right guard, and obviously that's probably where he's going to just slot right in at his right guard. But it's nice that he can play tackle as well, and then maybe you feel like Borum is better off as a guard, or you feel like Tevin Jenkins is better off as a guard, and you can kind of play with this a little bit. Maybe Schofield does go back to tackle. I mean, I don't want to pin that on him and make him calling a shot here and saying that he's going back to tackle. I don't think that's the case. I want him to be the starting right guard. But the pass blocking pros, like you said, I mean, he only gave up 2 sacks last season in over 900 snaps. I saw that stat flying around Twitter today. So, I mean, that's a plus. You didn't have that.
That's something we need for Justin Fields.
Absolutely. That's something that's we're dreadfully afraid of him dropping back to pass and not having enough protection or not having enough time. So
we will not have 2 individuals with a very limited NFL experience playing right next to each other. That's a huge deal to me. That was my worry at right guard and right tackle, that you'd have 2 guys who have not even played 200 NFL snaps next to each other.
In front of our shiny new, Ferrari.
Yeah.
The guy that we expect to be the future of this franchise. So
yeah.
And obviously you want your center to be calling the shots there on the offensive line. But damn well, Schofield being in this league long enough, he can help out the right tackle. He can help out and point out things on the right side of the line. So I think this is only a positive in the right direction here. And if we're going to shit on polls as much as we have for most of this episode or most of the show, we got to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a give credit moment here, or signing with Schofield.
Just hearing the word shit and polls in the same sentence was just incredible.
Shit polls?
But yeah, he's been shitbagging so far. And I think it was a good signing. Hopefully we can get that same level of productivity that he shared last year for the Chargers and the previous spots in his career. But other than that, there's just a few, I guess you would say, other news that occurred in the last week. Was it the city of Chicago that put together the proposal for renovations to be made to Soldier, or was it Lori? Was it Lori Lightfoot herself?
I thought it was City of Chicago, but
City
that
of
could go
Chicago.
either way.
Yeah.
Are they different?
I don't know. They're pretty. Yeah, they moved to the same beat of the drum, I guess, because she's the leader of the city of Chicago. So I guess that would make sense. But I think the way they put it, like if the Bears went to Arlington Heights, people wouldn't follow them. I think that's the biggest
That's funny as hell.
load of bullshit. I don't know, like who thinks that in their right mind.
Lori.
The Bears are a national icon, though. Like everyone knows who the Chicago Bears are that knows anything about football, and they have an overseas presence. Like it's it's an original franchise of the league. The original franchise of the league. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what this is,
people know who the Bears are.
Beat-on, you know what this is? This is a shitty salesman trying to sell sand to someone in the desert when they don't even have any sand in their hand to try to show someone what it would look like. Like, dude, she's just – it's a nice try, but I don't know, man. She doesn't know. Like, that comment there just screams to me, you have no idea what is actually happening in the NFL alone, let alone, and what's happening in your own city when it comes to football, because there's no way that Bears fans are not traveling with this team.
They played in Champaign at Illinois Stadium when they were renovating Soldier Field, and people still showed up, bro. They could literally play anywhere in the state, and no matter where they are, people will show up and pay ridiculous prices up there as one of the highest tickets in the league, because we love Bears football. Like, I don't know a single person that was born in Illinois that has, parents or people in their family that were Bears fans that's a Packers fan or a Vikings fan. Like, you are born into this. You must suffer through this. We're all going to get through this together. And eventually we will have another year to talk about that's like 1985. I don't know if we'll all have gray hair by then or what the situation is. But, like, I wish there was a bet that before I check out, the Bears will win a Super Bowl for me and at least make up for the 60, 70-plus years of pain that they did. You know what I'm saying? Like, just give me one. Win one for the Donski.
Win one for all of us, man. I'm so sick of, I'm sick of the losing seasons. I don't care where they play football at. I'm actually kind of sick of this conversation at this point, but I have no choice but to laugh at it, right? Like where are they playing football in the future? Where are they playing football in the future? We know they're probably not staying because the renovations that she kind of proposed look halfway decent, but at the same time, it wasn't like the fully enclosed nature of.
Unless it's a sale offer of the land, they're going.
They're going. Like, why? What would stop them from? I think. What was the proposal that they would spend? Somewhere between, I think the max was on the new stadium renovations will be like $2.2 billion or something like that.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, but what's going to stop the McCaskies from just spending more money to make more money? Like,
yeah.
Well, the price of everything inside the stadium will go up, and the taxes will go up throughout the city for sure. Maybe not the whole state, but definitely the city. And it'll get paid for one way or another, but it's just like, figure it out whether we're going to stay at Soldier Field. And if we're going to stay at Soldier Field, make Soldier Field a destination stadium, a stadium that people want to travel to see a football game. Maybe not to see the Bears, but they want to come to Soldier Field how they want to go to Wrigley Field or how they want to go to Fenway Park. You know what I'm saying? SoFi is that type of stadium. I know that's the one that we always use because it's the newest one.
It's adult Disneyland.
Yeah, it's adult Disneyland. So I just think there's so much more that we could be doing with what we use as a stadium, as one of the premier franchises of the NFL. Maybe not for our history on the field, but certainly as one of the first, if not the, like you said, the first seat at the table. You owe it to the franchise, you owe it to the city, you owe it to the players to have an ideal stadium to play your games at. And right now, whether it's the playing surface, whether it's the capacity, whether it's the location or how it's run, it's just not cutting it, and change needs to happen. And whether it's the renovations that they the city of Chicago has proposed or the Arlington Heights renovations that the Bears, or the new stadium that the Bears have proposed, it has to get done because we're just wasting time. Like, Soldier Field's not going to get any better. It's already a terrible venue to see a game at, and it doesn't add any, confidence in my mind that the city of Chicago is like kind of holding us hostage there, if you will.
George Hallis would have been out of there years ago.
Dude, it's almost
like seriously. George Hallis was like a shrewd businessman, a bit of a curmudgeon. He would have been out of there a while ago, a long time ago, I think. I mean, there were like before he passed away, there were already talks about the Arlington site.
That's probably what pushed them in that direction completely, too. He probably had that in mind, like that, hey, this is what somebody who's smarter than us had in mind,
The majority of the Bears' history occurred at Wrigley Field, not Soldier Field.
Yep.
The majority of their historical moments, the stuff that, is cherished.
Don't tell that to Bears fans that are also Sox fans, though. They're not going to like to hear that.
I mean, they played at Wrigley through the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I'm not sure what's stopping them from going at this point, and I don't think there is anything, really. It's like...
I mean, I think they're gone. I think this is all just the city making noise for voter reasons to make it look like they made an effort.
Pretty much, yeah, because if you lose the Bears, that's a huge knock-on. And like Bidon said the last show, we don't want to get overly political. To me, this is not like politics. And yes, It will be pushed that way, like against her in the public eye as like...
That's just anything in 2022, though,
Hey,
everything's so polarized.
If your sports franchise is having a bunch to do with your vote, you might want to reevaluate how you're voting. That's all.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I don't even vote, so that shit does not apply to me.
But you know how people are, though. People make something into nothing at every turn, really, nowadays. So it's like, but from our standpoint, we're strictly just talking Bears and what's going on with the city of Chicago, and what's going on with the city of Chicago and Bears. It's not good. Like, there's this is like almost, I guess, the kind of, if I'm going to make a comparison, the Roquan situation, but like to a different degree, like it's going to happen. Like, we're going to figure out, I know, beat down what you were saying. Like, I just want to know, like, just let me know basically what's, in different words. I'm not saying exact words here, but, you're saying, just let me know what's happening. We need to figure this out. It's going to get figured out. It's just a matter of when. And like right now, it's just, that's why I'm so annoyed at this point. Because like I know it's going to get figured out no matter what they decide to do. And we think they're leaving. But it's just an annoyance that we have to keep talking about it here on these shows.
Have y'all ever gotten those mailers that are like, build on your own lot? Like, buy a lot out here and you can build on it whatever you want. And it's like, you didn't ask for this, but they're just sending it to you and sending it to you. And like these designs of houses that you can't afford, they're sending to you over and over. I think that's the extent of the Bears' communication with the city right now. And the city's just publicizing that they're doing this. Like, I think they're just sending them these designs and these things. And like, look what we can do for you. But I don't think there's really a discourse going on there.
All I thought about when you actually said that was like, is it UPS? What can Brown do for you? Totally different.
I want it to be over with. I want a decision to be made. We've had to talk about it like 10 times this offseason because there's always some new news about it. But make the right decision. Upgrade the stadium if you're going to stay in the city, or move us to Arlington Heights, where apparently no one will go to see the games. But
y'all want a Michael Schofield fun fact? His 4 best games of the year last year, arguably, were the final 4 games going into the playoff run for the Chargers when they were trying to make that last push.
Let's go.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a guy turn up his play when he needs to.
Yeah, no, play good in the meaningful moments, and usually you'll be remembered in the game of football. But do we have any other news that you guys wanted to talk about here for today's show?
I'll throw a hypothetical at you guys.
Hit me.
not that I think this will happen, but say that you're Ryan Poles, sitting at your desk, just plotting away how you're going to keep Roquan from making his money. And you get a phone call. You just hear chomping of gum on the other end. And it says, it's Pete Carroll. I hear your guy Roquan's unhappy. And he offers you DK Metcalf for Roquan and a 5th-round pick. What do you say?
No.
No?
Me personally, no.
Yeah, I'm curious your opinion.
You're gonna give away a 5th-round pick and Roquan for DK Metcalf? I don't give a shit how athletic and how fast you are and how you could jump over a fucking building and run past a cheetah. I'm not taking it because you can get that somewhere. I know you're not going to get the exact same athleticism as
Is
DK
it that
Metcalf.
easy to find?
It's not that easy to find. It's not.
DK Metcalf just grows on trees, people.
No, but dude, like look at
Bears
what
fan.
receivers he is, but look at what receivers are getting traded for now. I don't think that would be a fair trade right there. Like you're going to give up an extra pick and Roquan. I think Roquan is just too valuable to this defense to DK Metcalf he's a very good player, but he also is like stats wise, if you're actually looking at like what GMs would be looking at too, like I don't think his stats are off the freaking charts. Like
no, they're not.
His intangibles are like his traits are.
Athleticism, yeah.
Yeah, his traits are. But like I don't think that would be like a fair on paper
Fields factor into your thought process though.
Like I said, like I don't think they don't grow on trees. There's definitely not that easy to find a DK Metcalf. You're not going to find another DK Metcalf, but I feel like you can find somebody that can work well with Justin Fields and be maybe less athletic than DK Metcalf, but can be a very quality receiver somewhere else, whether it be the draft, whether it be free agency. And so that's why, and maybe even on the trade market somewhere else, for a less cost than it would cost you to get DK Metcalf if you're going to propose Roquan Smith. So to me, I would turn that trade down because I think that would just be, it'd be like an addition by, I don't know how to describe it. It'd be like an addition, but it would cost you what it would have cost you. I don't think that would be a good addition.
What is there a receiver that's worth Roquan Smith in a 5th-round pick?
Well, I do.
Yeah,
I do think there is, but I don't think we're smart enough to make that deal. There's no shot.
There is. There absolutely is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, why would you trade for a guy that's younger than your 2nd or 3rd round draft pick receiver? I mean, DK Metcalf's only 24 years old. So why would you pay for a guy? Why would you pay a premium for a guy that, may not pan out in this league? I'm just kidding. But, I mean, DK Metcalf don't want to be having Drew Lock throw him the football. I'll tell you that.
No.
I know he wants out, but
the main reason that they line up well is DK needs a new contract, and I imagine it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of Roquan's contract. So you're basically trading salaries for a 5th-round pick.
Okay, when you put it like that, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about.
And I don't think the Seahawks will do 1-for-1. I think the Seahawks will want a little more for it just because of the premium of the position. Yeah,
100%. We're seeing wide receivers are getting very teams are prioritizing wide receiver a lot more.
Christian Kirk got like 20 mil.
Yeah. And also,
crazy.
I don't think the Seahawks would really do it because they have a young, good linebacker in Brooks who they're going to need to pay in a year or so.
Yeah.
It was just a hypothetical.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Run it through like an NFL trade machine.
Yeah.
Dude, I got a bone to pick with MLB trade calculators, so don't get me started with that. I want to see how NFL trade calculators are now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the guys report to camp tomorrow, so things are truly starting to heat up. Hopefully Roquan Smith gets paid. Hopefully Robert Quinn can show up if he wants to stay, and if he doesn't want to stay, keep him far away from the field because there's no need to get that man injured in meaningless practice, for him at least, if he's not going to be with the team. So if he's not going to be with the team for the foreseeable future, stay at home. We'll find you a team to go to, and hopefully, like I said, Roquan will get handled. Other than that, just a couple other things. Stay tuned for a new episode next week. We'll kind of be rehashing what's going on within training camp. I don't know if we have anyone that's going to training camp. I know I'm not, but if we have someone in-house that's going, we will always keep you guys posted. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up the show?
Extend Roquan. Pay the man. That's it.
Pay the
Just
man so
pay
he's
him.
not walking around out in a wife beater and a Bears hat. We can get him a nice suit. So
Like you said, call a Bella Danger, whatever you got to do.
yeah,
Just get it done.
get a Bella Danger on the horn. Come back and join us next Monday. We're getting you guys ready for the Bears preseason and the regular season as well. This was Bears on Tap, presented to you by On Tap Sportsnet. I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at BDon300. You can follow Quinten at BuckHisStats, and you can follow Joey and maybe get him a shirt at Joey Knows Nothing. We got nothing else for you guys. And
Teach me some style.
Yeah, bear down.
Bear down.
Down.